welcome to our weekly show, Berries and Tea with Nigora, where every week I go live and invite some amazing speaker to teach us, educate about some awesome topic. And today we have Meetu talking about the feminine and masculine energy, how to heal it, how to balance it, and what is a wounded feminine or masculine energy. So I'm so excited for her to join any minute now. Let's see, while she's joining, hi Gayane. So we've got an amazing speaker. Hi Yasmin, are you guys together? Okay, so we're waiting for Meetu to join live, and until she does so, we are discussing the balance between the masculine and feminine energies and how to balance them, how to live in your divine feminine, how to live in your divine masculine. And if one is too strong, then we have a imbalance, we have a misalignment. Yes, Mina, no, we're not. So until until Meetu comes, hi Archita, great. So we're just waiting for Meetu to join live. She's running late to the show. It's okay. We'll forgive. And we have another two amazing speakers coming up in April with Nancy, who will be talking about. There she is, who'll be talking about conscious communication, and then Sarah at the end of April talking about money and how much we need to love money. Meetu, send a request to join, please. Send a request to join. I'm waiting. There we go.
Me too.
Hello. Hi.
Are you not late at all?
Huh? No, I was right here. I was looking at you and I'm like, why is it not connecting? And I was waiting for you. Can you hear me well though?
Perfectly well. I can see you so well. I love your background. You're all about purple. It's amazing. It's awesome. Okay, so Meetu, I've done a little introduction. I've done a little introduction about the topic, but before we continue, I want you to introduce yourself to our audience and just take this on this talk about feminine, masculine energy. What is a wounded feminine, masculine energies, and how to balance them?
Awesome. So first of all, thank you so much for having me on your lovely show, and cheers to you for the berries and tea.
Thank you, Meetu.
Oh, cool. All right. Well, so my name is Meetu, for those of you who don't know me, and for all the listeners who will listen to this. I'm predominantly an energy healer, and I do different kinds of work, working with different modalities. I'm an empath. I do sound healing, color vibrational therapy, around 7 to 8 different kinds of energy healing modalities. I also teach them. So I teach access bars, Reiki, I teach sound healing, and several other workshops and things. And yeah, I really believe that we are anchoring this light so strongly right now with everything going on, you know, on a universal consciousness level on the planet and here in Dubai. So it's my absolute pleasure and joy to do this work, and it has been a very, very interesting journey to be here. I've been doing this now full time for 6 years, and before that I was a yoga teacher, which probably people now don't know. Been here in Dubai for 10 years, and yes, I intend to bring love and consciousness to whoever life I touch. And my work, the focus is to go really deep into releasing the trauma, the emotions, the pain. So my intention is to really simplify spirituality. It's not out there, it's not all of that woo-woo stuff, but it's really getting very practical, realistic about what's going within us. Why are we experiencing what we're experiencing? So I would say my expertise really is working with various layers of emotions, trauma, working with the inner child healing, balancing the feminine, masculine energies, and all kinds of energies that are within us. So I work very intuitively now and using all the tools that I have and all the experiences that I have accumulated on my own journey of 42 years, and just bringing that to the world. So that's me.
Amazing, Meetu. What a resume. What a resume.
Well, it's very cool. I'm very humbled by the experiences, and it indeed has been a very intense and yet a beautiful journey. I wouldn't change anything.
Beautiful.
So yeah.
So now tell us, what is this concept about feminine, masculine energy? You know, personally, yeah, I've only come across this concept, this idea, maybe a year ago, where I was in a relationship and someone told me that, you know, you're very masculine in this relationship. Ooh! And I was like, what? What does that even mean? So then, you know, and then I was trying to kind of become more feminine, and, you know, and it was my own journey, personal journey as well. And today I'm so much more aligned, and I know like how I feel differently when I'm tapping into my feminine or masculine. But I'm so excited for you to dive deeper into it, and for me to learn, and others to also be exposed to this concept.
Absolutely. And before that, let me just compliment you, because I have definitely witnessed a shift in you of something that's really changed in your energy, and you're doing such amazing magical work, and I see you shining and glowing from what I saw you at one time. So you're really doing amazing, and it brings me so much joy to.
Thank you. This is lovely. I'm like, ooh, I'm doing well. Yes.
Yes, you are. All right. So straight into it. Let me start with a little bit of a story of how I came across this topic and what went through me. So I teach anything that I teach, I always intend to embody it first before I bring it to people. Otherwise, I don't think that the value or the work that I'm bringing in is authentic, and that's my #1 value. So in 2018, about 3 years ago, I was really doing so much work. I feel like I was all over Dubai. I was doing meditations, doing courses, sound healing everywhere. I taught 2 retreats in Bali that year within the first 6 months, and then in September, I started my own healing center called Heal with Love Sanctuary. Now, you know, I was on fire, and I'm a fire sign. So I was on fire, go getting, do this, do that. You know, it's very much in the flow. And what happened was, it was going really well until December. But in December, something hit me. And I felt so stranded, so stuck, as if there was this conflict, because for my whole life, up until, let's say, about 35 years of my life, I had this, I am this fiery, optimistic, go-getter energy as a projector, as an Aries, and that was also my life journey. So I led my life being a victim of the circumstance, where I had to use this masculine energy to make things happen, to go, do, receive, be. So when I hit this phase, I had over the few years, I had really worked on my feminine energy. So I was really into the slow and doing things while, you know, working and making things happen. Now I was in this place where I just felt completely stuck. My feminine was overpowered by the masculine. I had this beautiful place, everything, but I just couldn't put any structure. I just couldn't, you know, like my feminine just wanted to relax and let things happen. But the pressure of making it work, doing events, doing this and that was overwearing on the feminine. So at some point, I think my feminine just completely said, woof. and I wasn't well, I couldn't move. And that really took me, I'm like, what happened? What is going on within me? So I understand that whatever is happening on the outside is, of course, before happening inside. So I really took myself back and I started to investigate what exactly was going on. And I realized that there was a massive imbalance between my feminine and the masculine now. So my feminine wanted to rest and relax. My masculine was like, let's go, make it happen, vision, blah, 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 ambition, which are the qualities of the masculine. So I had to, and this is when I started to research and do the inner work. And it has been an incredible journey, because what's happened in the society now, we have been in the patriarchal for thousands of years now, let's say at least 2,000 to 5,000 years. And now with the conscious rising over the last 20 years, we women discovered our feminine power, our feminine gifts. We started to connect with our womb, with our bodies, with our sensuality, sexuality. We learned about flow, about being receptive, receiving, right? And for me personally, when I discovered this aspect of me, I really like cherish this and like, oh my God, just, and that's my core energy, my feminine energy. So I went so much into it that kind of overlooked the masculine aspect as well. So this is how I actually discovered, and the journey began of, you know, really integrating both the masculine and the feminine. So we all have both the energies within us, the masculine and the feminine which is represented by our left side of the body, and the masculine with the right side of our body. Okay, so the feminine, let me take you through a little bit of qualities which I'm sure you have experienced yourself. So the feminine, main qualities of the feminine is intuition, flow, radiance, love, nurture, connection. All of these are very feminine qualities. Masculine on the other side is ambition, vision, structure, mental, logic, go-getter, right? And the feminine is just flowing. So a very good example is like the riverbed. So the bed of the river is very, very masculine with the stones, and it creates that structure, that container, right? For the water, which is the feminine, to flow. If there was no bed, the water would just go berserk and crazy. So both of these are needed in that perfect harmony and blend for allowing us to flourish. And it's there in nature everywhere. If you look at the tree, for example, it has to have that masculine trunk root, which represents the masculine, and the flowers and the branches and the leaves, which is the feminine. And when they are in perfect harmony, we have a beautiful tree. But if it was a weaker tree and, you know, the trunk was not fully grown, and then it starts to bear fruits or flowers, then the tree falls apart or the shrub falls away. So that is the power of really being grounded and understanding that we need both of these energies in a male body, in a masculine person and a feminine person. So this is, it was like woof, mind blowing. I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? I was too feminine, so I need some structure. And it also should, in a house, for example, this is really fun, because whenever people come to my place, they say, oh, it's so beautiful, it's so calming, it's so soothing. And if you go to a guy's house, I'm sure you witness there's like almost no furniture, there's a gym equipment somewhere, or it's empty. That's the male, just structure, just needing the basic. And the feminine, we like things, we like to create beauty around us. So how's that for a start?
I'm mind blown with the riverbed and the tree. Bloody hell, I've never thought of it like this, because I just thought yin and yang, you know, or, you know, masculine, feminine. Yes, feminine, the nurturer, the masculine, the go-getter. But they need to coexist together. And the example that you gave with the riverbed and that river flowing in the middle, I mean, it's just so perfect, you know. So, okay, so they need to coexist, the two. So how do we know if we are, I guess, too feminine or too masculine? Or it's pretty obvious, right?
Sometimes it's obvious, but actually when you are not aware, it's not obvious at all. Because let's take an example. For example, let's take, and these dynamics play very well in a relationship, and the relationship could be any kind. So for example, I'm sure we all know about this dynamic where one person, let's say a male, is if it's not an aligned, harmonious relationship, one partner is always doing the thing. So let's say a feminine, she is always making things happen, cooking, taking care of stuff, you know, taking care of the dogs, doing everything. And the male just comes and like, oh, honey, how are you? And he just receives. This is a complete imbalance, because the feminine's nature is to be receptive, to be received. Right? It's the male structure's responsibility in the ideal masculine, and that is what the divine feminine and the divine masculine is all about. It's about integrating these idealistic concepts into our real world, which we have gone really far away from. Today, men are really lost. They don't know what's going on. Women are really lost. They don't know, because they have to make things happen. You know, let's take an example of a single mom. A single mom, do you think she has the time to be feminine? No, she's running her work, business, she's doing everything for the child, she's taking care of the home, the business, you know, going to school, meetings, everything. Where do you think she's operating from? From her masculine energy. What does she want to do? Maybe she just wants to relax and sit and, you know, have someone else take care of the kid for a change, or take him to school, or, you know, do a parents. But she has no choice. So she has to get up, make herself strong, and say, hey, I can do this. And this is what has happened in society so much. Now, I'll give you another amazing example, that we women had to repress our feminine energy and become both. Now we're running the business, we're running the house, we're running our cats and dogs, we're taking care of everything, we're running our social, we're doing everything. And the feminine is struggling and saying, you know, I just want to be today. Right? So this imbalance is hurting a lot of people. Let me give you another example of a woman wanting to be in her feminine. I've asked this question to hundreds and thousands of women. Imagine you're on your moon day. Right? I have asked this question on your moon day, and I used to work in a very dynamic industry of aviation. I have never heard a woman say, oh, I'm having my periods and I want to go accomplish this thing or go to work. All we want to do is sit back, relax, just lie, not talk to maybe even anyone, and just go inwards. That's the feminine energy, calling you to honor the feminine. But do we always have that opportunity? No. I myself have been on a plane traveling 22 hours, taking care of passengers, them screaming while I'm flowing, and I'm like, I don't want to be here. But you just get up and you do. So your feminine soul is struggling there, and all of this is causing that imbalance, that harmony, that disharmony within our being. And if your body is not harmonious, if your masculine, feminine energies, that causes disruption in your emotions. So now we're starting to accumulate physical, emotional, and now what's your mental state? Of course, you're struggling mentally. So yeah, all of that starts to accumulate, and you know, people have nervous breakdowns, or they have the stuck situation, or they enter the void, or all of those things together. And you're like, oh, I'm depressed, I don't know what's wrong. So I receive a lot of women who are depressed, or even men depressed or anxious, and they don't know. What has happened is the accumulation of all these different kinds of emotions that they don't know what to do with. In a male body or in a male embodiment, it's the same. An aligned divine masculine would be very structured, would be balanced, would know his place in the world, would be supportive to the feminine, and will also understand his emotions. He's a connected man. But when the same man, when his masculine and feminine energies are not merged, he will be very aggressive, disconnected, not supportive, you know, too much in the ego, too much work, too much ambition, that he forgets everything else, and that connection with the heart is totally missing. So observing this with hundreds and thousands of people, dealing with this myself, I have gone through this phase where I'm like, this information really needs to go out. This really, people need to embody this balance, because we're coming into, you know, with everything going on in the world, we really need that balance, harmony within ourselves. So the inner feminine and the inner masculine, when that's harmonized, when you enter a relationship, and it's not like 50-50, you know, you can't be feminine and masculine all the time. If your core energy, for example, let me take my example, I'm more of a core feminine. That's my natural nature. But because of life circumstances, I became a giver. So I'm in my work, I'm always giving. Then my feminine is like, she's dying, she's exhausted, she's, you know, having a breakdown. So finding that balance, this is all about bringing harmony to ourselves. When my inner feminine and masculine is harmonious, that's when I will have someone in my life or people around me who I can be harmonious with. So that's the entire journey.
So sometimes if because I think at my core, I think I'm masculine. I think I'm is that normal?
Absolutely, absolutely. So let me tell you why you think you're a core masculine, which is, and this scenario also exists with men. I'm sure you've seen men who are much more emotional, who like to be in the flow, who do not have too many ambitions, and they're like happy. I have this job and they just want to travel. This is more of the feminine, their core, and that's perfectly all right. I've seen so many couples who, once you understand what is your core essence, right, and you want to have a partner who complements that, because if there is too masculine in the relationship, then what will happen? You want to go get, he was like, no, I want to do it. And if too feminine, then like, oh no honey, I'm just gonna stay home. It's like, no honey, I'm gonna, and they're too much in the emotions, so it's like just water everywhere. And then we wonder why. So one of the most important things in a relationship is polarity, right? And David Deda, he talks about this topic, and he has so much stuff coming up. He's an amazing guy to really learn about our own energies. You definitely are, Nigora, someone says.
Yeah, she can know.
So let's talk about your masculine energy. And I'm gonna, so understanding, see, whatever we are today, there is a base behind it, right? We are our conditioning, our experiences, and something in our life has created us the way we are. So I'm also gonna give you the mother and the fatherhood and how does it affect in building our personalities and who we become. So when you were little, okay, you had to take more responsibilities. You saw in the house that I have to make things happen, that you were taught to be strong, to be a go-getter, not to rely on men, not to do this, not to. So you were not supported more on your feminine essence. You were always projected to be a go-getter, like it's not a safe world. We have to be like that. We have to do this, do that, make things happen. Does that sound true for you?
When I was 5 years old, I used to go to kindergarten on my own because my parents couldn't take me. They were busy, and I'd have a house key to come back after kindergarten, open the door, put myself in the apartment, and sit waiting for my parents to come. So I had a lot of responsibilities since a very young age. Yeah.
There you go. And what is responsibility? Masculine energy. Right? So imagine a 5-year, and from 0 to 7, we form all our beliefs, right? So when it was told for you to be super independent, super responsible, take care of yourself, take care of the house, don't hurt yourself, right? You took this as your core belief that, oh, this is how I have to be. And I'm sure that you were also taught that it's not safe to rely on anyone. So you took that belief and you tapped into, because we have both the energies, so you tapped into that masculine essence and you built on that. But you're in a feminine body, right? And then as you grow up and you come on this path and you start doing the work, you're like, oh my God, it feels so good to do Kundalini yoga. Why do you like Kundalini yoga? Because it's very feminine. So it's nurturing the feminine side of you, right?
Yes.
So
But sometimes, me too,
yeah.
sometimes when I'm like, oh, I just want to like lie down and not do anything. No, Nigora, that is lazy. Get up and go do some work. So that was happening a lot before. Now it's definitely less. Like I actually allow myself to like rest for a little bit. But that little voice is coming in and saying, no, 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 that's lazy. Go work.
Yeah, so that's your, again, conditioning. And you would be surprised how many people I've been guilty of doing that to myself. Oh my God, so many times. And I was completely depleted and dead, really, you know, and also being an empath, I'm so sensitive that I can't even take anymore. So for you, that is your masculine conditioning, right? Because in the feminine body, it's a gift for you to nurture yourself. Because if you don't do that, we work with people, we don't do that for ourselves, we will very quickly deplete ourselves to be able to, you know, because energy transference, even for you to have this call, is an energy transference, right? We're not just talking. People think, oh, it's just a chat. Oh, you are 100% focused on me. All your senses are present here, right? All my senses, we're not even looking anywhere. That takes a lot of energy. So the energy transference is happening, and that's very, again, it could be feminine or masculine. So the journey is really about learning and balancing and harmonizing. Where do I need to take that break? Where do I need to give myself value over others, over tasks and everything? And it's not lazy at all. Because if you take time, you take yourself back, you reintegrate yourself, you nourish yourself, that you actually have more energy to go and do all those tasks, right? So
Meetu, for if someone is, because I think the main question for women, we're such conscious and awake species that we're always trying to like work on ourselves, grow, improve, and you know, tap into this different type of energies. But for a man, you know, they're so sleepy. They're such sleepy souls. And we know when we see a you know, a very masculine
awake,
you know, yeah, in a man. So how do you think, how could we use our wisdom and our silent manipulation, let's call it, to get the man to, or maybe it's none of our business really, but how can we expose this man to see their feminine energy within?
Okay, very good question. So first of all, manipulation is a very masculine energy. Or actually, it's a wounded feminine energy. Manipulation, sorry, I correct myself. Wounded feminine energy. So would you like me to first share about what is a wounded and the, you know, how we show up in relationships? So I shared about the qualities that are the divine masculine and the divine feminine, which is the ideal archetype. Right? So if you're embodied as a feminine, you would do this, and if you're so the wounded is when a wounding has happened somewhere. So for example, for you, when you were taught to constantly be in the masculine, it is a form of wounding. Now, because you've done so much work, or you're doing so much work, you're aware. Right? Most women are not aware, or most men are not aware. So this is where I would like to introduce the concept of the father wound and the mother wound. Because whatever we are, many people have not even heard, and I have shared this with hundreds, maybe thousands of my clients when I work one-on-one, and not one has said that it doesn't resonate. Okay? Because, so let's go into this concept of what does father wound and mother wound actually mean. So when a baby is born, right, it is two people coming together, a feminine energy, your mother, and a masculine energy, our fathers. And when that mergence happens, this beautiful baby, me and you, are created. Now, this beautiful baby's primary need from 0 to 7 is unconditional nurture, love, acceptance, appreciation, recognition, right? Inspiration. So the mother's responsibility ideally is to give this beautiful child love, nurture, unconditional presence, everything needs to be unconditional. But unluckily, or as the world has been, not all mothers are able to do so because of their own wounding. This is not to blame our fathers and mothers. They've done the best, but they were not able to give us all of that the child needed, right? So when a child does not have that ideal bond, connection, love from a mother, she grows and builds what is called the wounded feminine, or the mother wound. This girl will grow up to have very little trust in her physical appearance. She will be constantly in doubt. She will also have jealousy, envy from other girls. She would be quite inward. She wouldn't know her place in the world. She could be quite introverted, no confidence with men or the external place, because it completely affects the third and the second chakra. So second chakra, our sexuality, our creativity, and the third chakra, which is the confidence. Okay. Whereas if the woman has her mother connection, no matter, God bless everyone, nobody's ugly, but no matter how the girl looks and no matter how not good looking she is, she would have this knowing that, oh, I'm beautiful, oh, I'm this, I'm that. So they have this inner knowing, inner confidence that builds because of this connection with mother. On the other hand, the father is the external, right? The extroverted, the outside. So when a girl does not receive the mentorship, the guide, the security, the safety, the love, unconditional presence, maybe because father was always away. It's not necessarily that he didn't love his child. So then we develop what is called the father wound, because we did not have the ideal mentorship of a father, and we become insecure, not so extroverted, quite introverted. But if you have all of that, you would have this very dynamic personality, quite magnetic, quite electric, go-getter, extroverted. You would know your place in the world. You have a high sense of self-worth. And it usually affects our crown chakra. So people always who have this might also have a very strong sense of mission, purpose, connection to the divine. So this is how intricately these relationship affects us, and we don't know. So a girl, for example, let's take a feminine, because we are feminine, so I'm going to address that more. A feminine who has a father wound, she will not trust men. She would say, oh, I can't trust men, oh, they're all cheaters, all of these concepts of, not relying. And at the same time, she might want to be with a man, so she becomes very needy. She wants him because she wants the safety, the security, the love that she did not have from her father. So this really affects us on a deep core level, and we are just so oblivion. We just keep going on with life. And me, I really feel I was very blessed to come across this topic many years ago already, actually, and to embody. But then I connected the two concepts together of how, why, because people are now beginning to talk about the masculine feminine imbalance, but they don't know where is it coming from, because there must be a creation point somewhere. Something has gone wrong, and this is why we have the beliefs that we have, which is holding us back. The entire purpose of this understanding or this healing is to really be embodied, to be embodied in who we are, so that we can serve the world with, with our gifts, with whatever purpose we are here for. So to come to your original questions, do you want to say something? Go ahead.
No, I'm just blown away by the impact of the two parents, how that can hurt one of the energies. And in my example, definitely my father is like a wow, extroverted, fun, ambitious, always organizing, always planning, putting a vision for me since I was like 5 years old, So I definitely have a very strong, fun, present father. And my mom is also, she didn't grow up with a dad.
Yeah.
You know, so she really had to become so strong and so responsible for all of her siblings since she was like 10 years old. So she couldn't really give me that feminine energy, that care, because she didn't know it herself.
I just got goosebumps. So that makes perfect sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Right?
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Meetu, for that, because it's such a realization that I need to go and journal on now.
I mean, you know, Nigora, it was mind-boggling for me when I understood, because I've spent years and years and years healing my own mother wound. And luckily, I did not have father wound because I was very connected with my dad. I was very close. I lost my father in a plane crash when I was 18. And
Oh, I'm so sorry.
you know, for me, my father leaving with this accident created the abandonment wound in me, not from my father, but this abandonment, and I didn't know how to process this emotion. So I, in my personal life, had to work through both these issues. And working on the father wound was a lot easier for me. I can't say easier, but it had less impact than my mother wound was really, really deep. So I have spent all these years, you know, really working through it. And I understood that because I was always I came across, at least, even sometimes I had to kind of pretend maybe, but I came across as very confident, go-getter at work. In everything that I did, I had this fiery energy. But then when it came to myself, you know, I had this belief that I'm the ugliest girl on the planet. Until around 30, when I rediscovered, so my awakening process started in 2011. That's when I started to work. And, you know, no matter how many compliments I received from others, I just couldn't connect with that feminine energy. So I really had to go do some deep work on myself to release that pain. I was still waiting for validation, recognition from my own mother to tell me that I was beautiful. And this little Meetu was still holding that against her, or still wanting that. So I did layers and layers and layers of healing. And it's not like my mother doesn't love me, but I needed, and all kids have that, I needed a certain nurture. And my body, my love language is affection, touch, expression, you know, words of affirmation that I never had from my mother. And it really matters when you're a kid. So in my teenage years, I was actually very, very sick. I had epilepsy. I have never shared this on a social platform. Actually, I was suffering from like a migraine, but a headache when I was in 10th grade. So I went through a lot of physical symptoms because I was so full of these painful emotions that I had to do some very deep trauma work over my own, you know, growth, spiritual growth. So it was really mind-boggling to understand these. And it's my intention, my mission and vision to bring this, because so much can shift for people when they just understand these two concepts. Yeah. You become free. You know, you just literally become free. You become an embodied person, because we're all here to be that embodied person, irrespective of our mother experience, our father experience, and everything else, right? So that we can move forward and not keep losing the energy in the past. So this is really a very profound understanding.
As you say, it's very freeing, because now with this knowledge that I have now about my energies, I'm like, oh, okay, now I understand, and it's okay. You know, I can work through it. I don't need to blame myself anymore. I'm not like masculine and that's it, you know, accept me the way I am. There's a reason why I've developed this, you know, there's a reason why there's a wounded feminine. Yeah. So, okay, so then the next question would be, if, you know, our listeners and me, if they realize, okay, we have a wounded feminine or a wounded masculine, then what do we do? How do we heal that?
Great question, because eventually we have to heal that to move forward. Right, so number one step is awareness, right? From not knowing to becoming aware, okay? That's number one step. that there is something, there is an imbalance. So let me quickly give you the example of a CEO, right? And it's applicable to both a male CEO and a feminine CEO, right? A feminine CEO is a boss, right? She needs to meet the target, she needs to get stuff going, she has maybe thousands of employees, very much in the masculine. She comes home, she's the same, she can't let go of that control, that vision, mission, right? She doesn't have time for her feminine energy to play, but it doesn't mean that she's not suffering. She wants to have a relationship or connection or deeper, but she's unable to. And she has no clue, but she's unhappy. She has all the money, all this, everything, but she's unhappy. In the male, again, similar thing happens. A male is, again, too much in his own masculine to make things happen. Right, but at the end of the day, he has some feminine energy and he has these desires to have an emotional connect or partner. But then because he has diminished that feminine, he doesn't have time to talk about emotions. Have you ever met guys who get so uncomfortable when you talk about emotions? Like me, I had a, oh my God, and I ended up expressing my vulnerability, and the guy like literally ran. He freaked out and he just ran. I'm like, all right, wounded masculine, no space for you in my life. Really, like, man totally freaked out. I think you're so weak because you just said, oh, today I'm not feeling well. Wow, you're human. Right, so it's really, I could not put more emphasis on how essential it is. And this is I'm not even talking anything spiritual. I'm just talking pure emotions, simplifying, breaking it down to very practical stuff, right? So number one is to acknowledge. So number one is to understand that there is an imbalance. To understand what is it that you want from your life. Maybe being a masculine serves you. Maybe the CEO, he doesn't want to change, but then he has a breakdown and he's like, oh, my life is a mess. I've had several such clients, by the way, male and females. A lot of male clients choose me. I don't know why. So, because I express the divine mother energy, I feel it has always been the case, because I can be present from that non-judgmental place. So, awareness, becoming aware. I also do this exercise, which is understanding your core energy. So it has a set of questions that I do in my workshops or in my courses where when you answer them, it gives you a very clear understanding of what your core essence is. Once you understand that, then you can create a plan for yourself of how, now that you're aware, like you said, okay, it's okay for me to boundaries. Boundaries is a very essential one, and we all females lack that because we've never been taught that, right? And the final step would be what is in the way. So you might take some actions, but maybe you're still not moving forward. So what is it that needs to heal within you so that it's safe for you to be feminine, or it's safe for you to be a masculine? So healing the mother and the father wound, and then finally the integration. So when we start to heal and work, so let's say somebody had a father wound. Let's take a guy's example. For example, a guy had a very abusive father. He was never there. If he was there, he was too hard on him. He kept telling him, you're good for nothing, blah, blah, blah. And this guy will grow, and he's close to his mother. This guy will grow up being very feminine because he has so much resentment, pain. This father is not an ideal example mentor for him. So the guy, what he does is he diminishes his masculine power, and to just cope, becomes more feminine. Now in the world, you know, several years later, in the work, he's unable to take decisions. He's unable to, you know, be the go-getter at work. Somebody else gets his promotion. In a relationship, women take advantage of him because by polarity, he attracts a woman who's very controlling, who's very much in the masculine, and he's unable to be his authentic self. And he's also struggling to say, you know, like he's unable to feel safe to express his emotions. Now, all of that is coming from his father. So we can try, like in coaching sessions, people try to, okay, change your behavior, change your this, change your that. But no changes will happen, and people end up doing 20, 30 sessions because the father wound is stuck. He's still in pain. He hasn't forgiven his father. He hasn't received the acknowledgement from that male. And this is why also, like, you know, male circles are coming up, which is so profound, so powerful for masculine to come together, to have that brotherhood, to have that representation of healthy fatherhood that many men did not have. Right? So there's so much going on with the feminine circle. I'm seeing some masculine circles, you know, men's circle, and I'm so like, when I see it, I'm so excited and blown away. And my intention in this Ramadan month is to actually create, and I found the name is Conscious Men and Women's Circle, where we will gather together men who are waking up or are interested in waking up, and females, and we come together and discuss and share and heal each other's wound. The presence of a masculine man who's holding this masculine divine energy is so nurturing and healing for us women, because finally we say like, oh wow, I'm sure you've had this when you meet a man who's so embodied, like, wow, all men need to be like that. So the work has to go both ways. We can't just, because so many years we've been doing the work, the men are feeling that imbalance. So they need to, you know, pull their socks up and get their shit together. Yalla, we have to do this together. We can't do it alone. We didn't come here to do it alone.
Funny story, Meetu, for you, and just to confirm your theory, or it's not really a theory, it's the truth what you're saying, but I met someone a few weeks ago that now, listening to you, definitely has a wounded masculine energy, and guess who he attracts? A very strong masculine.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, so he'll be coming.
Yep, so that you could trigger his wounds, so that he has the opportunity for healing. This is what I love this, you know, I really like to share this, my idea of a relationship, because we have been conditioned to understand relationships are such a needy thing. You need to be married, having kids, all those old paradigms, which had its place. I'm not discrediting, and, you know, if that works. But my personal understanding of going through this deeper journey is that, and that's my intention as well, two people coming together in alignment, in embodiment, a male and a female, like those two trees, two solid trees, grounded in their knowing, flowering, having their fruits, having all of that they're here to offer to the world, right? And then in between, you don't become, the tree doesn't get up and go inside the other tree. The tree stays embodied, and you meet here in between with your leaves and your flowers, and you give each other that gift. That is my ideal understanding of a conscious relationship in today's time. Because we don't need to lose ourselves and become, oh, I'm your little puppy, or the man like, oh, now I take care of everything. No, this is the divine feminine embodiment and the divine masculine. And when such a union happens, the core essence becomes of service, becomes of how are we going to bring this gift that we have, understanding, wisdom, healing, whatever is your way, you know. You could be two CEOs even, but you will be outwardly focused because you've done the inner work. So really we are being called to do that inner work within ourselves, to navigate through that inner feminine, inner masculine energies, to heal the woundings of the past, of inner child, so that we can be with an embodied partner, and we can manifest and attract an embodied partner. So we are really dynamically, we're going into that, you know, globally on a world level. We're really stepping into that desire, that reality.
It's so beautiful, Meetu. I'm just so blown away by this. I never thought of, I mean, I knew there was something special about the feminine and masculine energy, but you really opened so many alleyways and understanding this concept. So I'm so grateful. Thank you so much. And I want you to give our audience, let's say, top 3 tips on like what to do to come into alignment or to become even aware, or how to start this journey of healing.
Okay, so number 1 is taking access of your life, understanding where do you have an imbalance. Is there something that's bothering you, right? So acknowledging if there is an issue. So for a male and a female, it would be different, right? Now, one of the most powerful things to awaken, we need to awaken that heart energy. We need to awaken the sacral chakra energy, right? And to awaken these energies, one of the most powerful practices I feel is yoga and meditation. So just because it's subtle energies, it's not, even if you don't know, you will begin to awaken. So I highly recommend, I find Kundalini, you know, Kundalini yoga is my top favorite yoga. That's those 2 things. Thirdly, becoming, so if you're a masculine, connecting with your feminine energy, inviting that energy in. If you're a feminine person, more into your masculine, then setting, for example, a day to just be feminine, just to do feminine things, to, you know, to go out, to be, water really helps, right? The water energy is very potent, and the fire energy is very potent for building in the masculine energy. So those 2 things, and investigating, you know, becoming more aware. I mean, I have, whatever time we've been here, I've basically shared the tip of the iceberg, but even just that much is so introspective, is so bringing you. So just by becoming aware, the work begins.
Amazing. Meetu,
Right?
thank you so much. I'm gonna like switch off this interview and go journal about my poor little wounded feminine energy. But the reason I'm smiling and I'm not, you know, sad is because this is almost like revolutionary. I'm excited that I finally understand why the hell am I so masculine. And it's very exciting. So I'm so thankful. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your passion and for your work that you do for people. And I dream to have a beautiful session with you sometime in the future. And until then, all of our audience maybe can also follow you and be present in your courses and whatever else you offer. Yes, Shika, thank you for being here as well. And thank you for confirming my masculine energies, Shika. All right, so thank you all.
I just wanted to share with your audience and with whoever will be watching. I've been, over the last 2 months, I've been working on creating this program, which will be completely focusing on taking through these layers, so balancing the feminine, masculine energy. And I'm creating short courses where we can, like, maybe not everybody needs to go that deep or wants to, so like a 2-3 hours workshop and then a 2-day course, and definitely the Conscious Men and Women Circle. And I would really like you to come to the Conscious Men and Women Circle, at least, because I have this feeling that we will be anchoring, so couples, single men, single women, and it would be, I think, a great place for people like us to meet even our potential partners, or, you know, really building that energy together, really harnessing and anchoring that energy in Dubai. And Dubai is flourishing so much right now. I see there's a lot of people leaving, and I really appreciate your work. One person that I would really like to give a shout out to is your friend Liberty. I haven't had the chance to meet her yet, but I'm so proud and happy, and it thrills me with the work she's sharing, because this is, you know, this is the core. If you women take that power and understand, eventually we're going to give it to our men. You know, our men are in need of this nurture and love and understanding and support, so that they become those solid pillars that supports us women. So I'm feeling very, very called to going more into this work deeper, and whatever else wants to manifest. So
Thank
yeah,
you
just
so much, Meetu. I will pass your regards to Liberty. She'll be super happy to hear this. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining, for listening. Next week, we have Nancy, our Kundalini Yoga teacher, talking about conscious communication. So I'm really excited to host her as well. She's my absolute fave. And please tune in. And I'll see you very soon, Meetu. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. Big kiss to you. So much love.
Lots of love. Bye.
Bye.